Alright everyone, it's your boy Fernie here with another new Cryptids and Monsters news video. In this case, I found this article just recently regarding the 20 best movies about cryptids. When I saw this title, I immediately had to bring this up, and I'm actually going to view it pretty much live with you. I haven't gone through the entire article, the entire list of movies just yet, so we're going to go through them together one by one to see which ones are listed. It comes from a website called yardbarker.com. So I thought this would be a fun way of showcasing more cryptids, but also about movies. Maybe some of these movies I've seen already, maybe you haven't. Maybe some of you have, and I haven't as well. Let me know, please, in the comments below. Already off the bat, it looks like there's the Yeti, the abominable snowman. So let's go ahead and let's see what this article states. It's no secret that Hollywood and audiences love a good monster movie. It's even better when the monster is a cryptid. Unlike some of these monsters, the cryptid entices and terrifies because it might be real. And so it's unsurprising that the movies would repeatedly turn into the world of cryptids to find new ways of terrifying and unsettling the audience. So the first one is Brotherhood of the Wolf. I've heard of this movie before, but I've never seen it. Looks like it was made in 2001. Who was the director? Maybe I've heard of it because I think it was the director of Silent Hill that did this one before. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. Released in 2001, the French film Brotherhood of the Wolf focuses on the infamous Beast of Gabaldon, a supposed wolf that terrorized France in the 18th century. I'm trying to remember if I did that cryptid. I think I did. I know I've talked about a beast of something, but I can't 100% recall if that's what it was. But either way, oh yes, I did. I did talk about it. I remember. It was the one involving a giant wolf who was haunting an area, especially in the front of a church, if I recall correctly. It says here it's not always the most narrative coherent film, but it's entertaining and at times even chilling. The creature itself is a remarkably frightening monstrosity, part period, part martial arts, part horror. It's a pulp and worth a watch. Anybody seen this movie, Brotherhood of the Wolf? You guys recommend it? Let me know. Next one, Pet Cemetery. Pet Cemetery is an actual cryptid movie. I've never seen the movie actually, never even read the book, but I know about it. Obviously, it's a tale of animals that come to life, pets in other words, but let's see what it says. Stephen King is, of course, one of the most important voices of horror fiction, and his works have been adapted numerous times. The 2019 adaptation of Pet Cemetery, oh, it's the recent one. I haven't seen that one either. Is one of the more generally frightening and troubling, since as being haunts the titular location and gives it sinister power. It doesn't shy away from dark human tragedy and makes its fate of unknown characters, unfortunate characters, all the more wretching. But why does it deal with cryptids? What does that have to do with cryptids? Does anybody know about that? Is there any actual cryptids in the novel, in the movies, both of them? Let me know. I didn't realize that it had that, so maybe it's something that's interesting to see. Incident at Loch Ness. Already, Loch Ness Monster. Look at that. Throughout his career, Werner Herzog has established himself as one of the most authoritative and thought-provoking voices in the documentary film, but doesn't mean he's not willing to poke fun of itself. He plays a version of himself who is in a bit of competition with another documentary filmmaker, constantly asks the viewer to interrogate just what they think they know about they are watching. It's a clever film that deconstructs the idea of the cryptid and the hold it has. Oh, okay, so this is more of like a analysis. Well, like a mockumentary where it's showcasing a documentary, but it's made as a movie with fake characters, but it's a real life location, and it tries to posit what it sounds like an analysis of what those characters are doing in that real spot. So I never heard of it, never seen it. Who knows? Skinwalker Ranch. This one I have heard. I think I have seen it once with friends. Found footage film has become one of the most ubiquitous subgenres of horror, and Skinwalker Ranch fits right into the particular mold. The plot revolves around the disappearance of a rancher's son, and the team sent to explore what happened, but of course, things get very frightening very quickly. So, if I recall this movie correctly, it ends with finally showcasing the giant beast, whatever it is, the skinwalker in the house. Like he's terrorizing. He looks like a giant, emaciated, very tall, white looking creature that's roaming about the house, right? Is that the right film? If it was, again, I haven't seen it in a while. But either way, that looks like that's what it was. Yeah, I saw most of it. If it's the right film, and it just didn't make too much impact with me. It's hardly it's something I can remember now. The Mothman Prophecies. I've heard of this one. Mothman Prophecies is one of the most famous cryptids, or the Mothman is the most famous cryptid to emerge from West Virginia. The creature, a flying being with glowing eyes, experience said to presage the collapse of the Silver Bridge. Mothman Prophecies, that's the one with Richard Gere, yeah. Yeah, it says here, stars no less of an actor than Richard Gere. While the screenplay is sometimes perplexing, the film is still notable for drawing attention to one of its most menacing cryptids. It's got to be, this is one of those that's on my bucket list. I gotta see this one. Because, yeah, it definitely deals with the Mothman himself, and I'm guessing he does come out for the movie, right? Like he makes his presence known in a dramatic way. So it'll be interesting to see how Hollywood does that. I have seen that there's multiple sequels to the Mothman Prophecies as well. I think the rest of them were straight to video. Cold Skin. This is new. I don't know about this one. It's only recently that mermaids have come to be seen as cryptids, but there's no question that those half human, half fish beings have exerted a remarkable draw on the human imagination. They are given a horror gloss as two men on a remote Atlantic island find themselves confronted with sinister creatures from the sea. Oh, look at that! So in this case, instead of mermaids being helpful, in this case they're actually terrorizing these two guys, two men that are lost at sea. Who is really the monster is the question that's being asked there. Anybody seen this movie? Never heard of it either. I'm wondering if this was even released in theaters. Smallfoot. Looks like we got the animated one, the one featured above. Even though cryptids are often a source of fear and angst, hence their appearance in many horror movies, there's been a shift in seeing them sources of fun, humor. Smallfoot is what happens when humans and Yetis finally meet. So it is a Yeti. A talented voice cast that includes the like of Channing Tatum, Zendaya, and Danny DeVito. These animated films contain a touching message about the power of making connections across differences. Okay, this is probably another one of those animated kids films. There's like 5 of them made every year, right? That come out in theaters. Never heard of this one either. When did this one come out? Either way, when it came out, I never saw it, but it looks like a fun movie, I guess. ScoobyDoo and the Loch Ness Monster. You can't get more direct than that, right? ScoobyDoo is, of course, one of the most enduringly popular characters. He experienced a surge in the popularity in the 2000s and a number of direct-to-DVD films, including Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster. I remember that. I remember there was like a string of movies that Scooby-Doo would have come out in DVD, VHS, or Blu-ray, and it was just one after the other. I always wondered, like, who's the audience? Who's watching this? Enough people are if it merits that the movies keep continuing. As one might guess, the plot revolves around the title beast, Scooby, and the rest of the Mystery Inc. gang trying to get to the bottom of a number of appearances by Scotland's famous Lake Monster. I'm not really into the Scooby Doo franchise. I haven't seen any of the films, but there are definitely fans that are out there. Abominable. Looks like we got another fun cartoon like movie about the Yeti. Who knew that the Yeti was so popular for that? The films produced by DreamWorks always have a sort of whimsical magic about them. That's definitely true of Abominable. The film has a great deal in common with How to Train Your Dragon, the studio's very successful franchise, but is enchanting enough to stand on its own. So it looks like it's a friendship between that little girl and this Yeti. It's one of those animated films that doesn't try to be groundbreaking or change the rules, but instead encourages the viewer to just cherish its sweet story and the beauty that only animation can convey. Okay, so I guess that's what that movie's about. The Last Broadcast. Look at that already. That seems like it's a Blair Witch one, right? Even though the Joyzy Devil hasn't enjoyed quite the on screen presence of some of the cryptids, it has appeared in notable films, including The Last Broadcast. Ooh, it has to do with the Jersey Devil. Though the creature doesn't appear in the film, boo, it serves as something of a malign influence in the background. Already, I don't like it. If it's one of those movies that just keeps teasing like a shadow, a glimpse of a shadow for like a quarter of a second, and then that's it. No, that's not going to work. You got to see it eventually. Even Jaws had the shark come out afterwards. It makes remarkably sophisticated and effective use of the found footage method, keeping the viewer on their toes as to the nature of the killings and who perpetrated them. It raises more questions than answers. I'm kind of iffy on these type of films. I see their appeal. They do work well. Cloverfield is a good example, probably the best example of a monster movie. that is found footage. And even then, they eventually showed the creature, and it was a really good payoff. So in this case, with this film not showing the Jersey Devil, that's not good. Sasquatch Sunset. What is this? It's hard to pin down Sasquatch Sunset to any particular genre, but it's safe to say it's unlike any other film released in 2024. It focuses on a family of Bigfoot and a native habitat in Northern California. It's a strange mix of documentary and fantasy films. Jesse Eisenberg was in it. Give the guy who played Lex Luthor and Riley Keough give these simian creatures a personality, and the film was a timely reminder of treasuring nature. Where did these movies come from? Sasquatch Sunset. Oh my goodness, interesting stuff. Excuse me. Ah, Harry and the Hendersons. I have seen this one. Yes, this is almost like a cult classic. Bigfoot has long exerted a powerful hold on the American imagination, so it makes sense that this ape-like bipedal creature, or cryptid, would make a number of appearances in this film. As most notable with Harry and the Hendersons, in which a human family essentially adopts the creature. Yes, I have seen this movie a long time ago. Long time ago. Probably one of those movies I have to catch up on again. And then there was a TV show associated with a good film. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I still remember the ending to this day. I won't spoil it, but it's a movie with an ending that you have to rewatch several times because you're gonna blink and miss several things. Legend of Boggy Creek. I have seen this one. Let me see. Not every low budget quasi documentary can manage to capture some real thrills, but The Legend of Boggy Creek more than succeeds in this regards. Released in 1972, purports to document the existence of the folk monster of Arkansas. Viewer comes to feel as they're really watching an account of the creature, successfully taps into the parts of the human brain that they remain fascinated with. I remember this was a big movie. Like it followed like a huge cult following of fans for like many years, and then I saw it later on, just one day with a friend. And my impression on it was okay. It wasn't the best one. I kind of knew by then that it wasn't the real deal, like an actual found footage, like real type stuff. No, instead it's like it says here, a quasi documentary, like they're recreating things. It gives you hints, like the camera angles and the way things zoom in all of a sudden. It gives you hints that it's not real, but it's still okay. Like I didn't think it's the best thing that a lot of people were saying after all these years, but it's not the worst either. But it definitely still has its fans. It absolutely to this day. Tremors. Oh, that is a good film. That is a really good one. Who hasn't seen Tremors? Who hasn't loved that film? Few horror comedies have pulled off the balancing act accomplished by Tremors, which focuses on the residents of a small southwestern town who find themselves under assault by a cluster of carnivorous giant worms. Look at that. It might be known as a Mongolian death form. I never thought of that. That's an interesting point. Could be true. They can wreak a lot of havoc before they are ultimately defeated. The film is also notable for a surprisingly strong cast, which is true, and then both plenty of times scary. This horror comedy is at its best. Very true. This is a great film. Really good build up. Great world character building. Even though it's in a remote town with just a small group of people, you really come to care about them. So that way, whenever these monsters start first coming out, and they start doing the predictable thing of picking off people one by one, it really becomes an adventure. Then, like you're absolutely rooting for the main characters here, and also yes, the characters themselves wonderfully acted by everyone involved. Kevin Bacon did an interview years later, and he was stating that he knew that something was kind of special when they were filming it, and he almost had passed on it. If I remember correctly, his interview said that he thought that this was just a movie that maybe he shouldn't do. It was kind of out there, but he ended up doing it, and it became one of his most famous movies since then. It just goes to show you never know exactly what's going to be a hit and what's not afterwards. But this movie absolutely still stands the test of time, and it has a bunch of other sequels after. I've never seen any of their sequels. To me, this movie, just the first one, is good enough already, but it's an excellent one. Waterhorse Legend of the Deep. Is this an animated film? Oh, it's like a CGI one. Okay. Loch Ness Monster. Hey, how about that again? Has excited imaginations of generations of people and has come to be closely associated with the mystic spirit of the Scottish Highlands. This one tells the story of how the Loch Ness Monster came to be, focusing in particular on Angus McMorrow, who discovers an egg that belongs to the creature known as the Water Horse. So it looks like it's another similar movie to almost like the animated ones where they form a special bond. So I don't know, never seen this one before. Antlers, never heard of this one either. Wendigo, how about that? The figure of the Wendigo has appeared in various indigenous traditions and, of course, in Hollywood cinema. In 2021, it made a notable and quite frightening appearance in the horror film Antlers, in which it inhabits the bodies of several characters. Oh, like The Thing, like the movie The Thing. Look at that. Like all good horror, Antlers manages to blend emotional trauma and unsettling creature aesthetics, which gives the story a particular heft. Some might balk at the serious tone that permeates the story, but others might find it gives a particular resonance. This one I am interested in now. I want to see this. The Wendigo is a scary creature already. Easily one of the most scariest ones I've talked about on my channel. And here you have it within a movie where I guess it takes bodies over, like it takes over bodies. And I'm wondering if it stays the same as the body it's inhabiting, or does it change? Like, does it morph into something else, like a mix between it and some animal, and so on? What a weird title, though. Antlers. You would never guess that it's a Wendigo, a Wendigo type movie if it was something like that. Missing Link, another animated film, is another animated gem that shows that there is another side to Bigfoot. That's Bigfoot, the guy in the tux right there. In Missing Link, viewers introduced to Bigfoot, Mr. Link, who joins a pair of British explorers who goes to the Himalayas in search of his Yeti relations. It's a cute and charming film, thanks in part to his talented voice cast, Zach Galifianakis, Hugh Jackman, and Emma Thompson. Wow, another one that I never heard of, but it has a strong cast on there. Stop motion animation, yay! I like that. I like stop motion animation. Used to bring the characters to such memorable life. It might have bombed at the box office. No telling. Never heard of this movie at all. But it's still a delightful, feel good cryptid film with some surprising emotional and philosophical depths. Looks like another cute movie when it comes to this. Willow Creek. Looks like more Bigfoots. The film Willow Creek has several things to recommend to fans of cryptid movies, not the least of which if it is directed by Bobcat Goldthwait. Bobcat Goldthwait? Is that comedian? Who was in that Beavis and Butthead episode that I remember? He played like a homeless guy, if I recall correctly. Though Goldthwait might be more famous for his comedy, he shows a deft touch of horror with his Bigfoot-centric film, which is the story of a couple hoping to be able to replicate the famous Patterson Gimlin film, one of those notable of Bigfoot sightings, but things don't go as planned, and it ends on a remarkably bleak and chilling note. Who knew that Bobcat Goldthwait is somebody that is a director now? And not only that, but he's directing a horror film that involves Bigfoots. Almost the last one, Letters from the Big Man. Looks like another Bigfoot movie. Even though Bigfoot is often found in horror films, the giant ape-like creature has found its way into less terrifying cinematic representations. It focuses on Lily Rubus Sarah Smith and her bond with the giant beast. The film doesn't really provide many concrete answers as to what Bigfoot is or what his feelings might be, but either way, it's an exercise in contemplation and communing with nature. So another one where the main character, I guess, is bonding with the cryptid, in this case, Bigfoot. It's a surprising contemplative indication of how much potential there is in the Bigfoot legend. So it doesn't look like this is a horror movie. It's, again, just another almost like family-friendly movie, if I'm right. How do you say this? Gten Ragnarok. The U.S. might tend to corner the market regarding cryptid films, with several other countries have all their legends, including Norway. This one focuses on an archaeologist who mainly encounters the type of giant sea serpent so commonly seen in Viking culture. There are a few good scares in this film, and the creatures have their motivations for acting as they do. Moreover, the film has an important message about leaving nature to itself. So this is the creature. Did I talk about this one? I don't think so. Someone check my channel if you have a chance and let me know in the comments, but I don't think I've talked about this. I know I've talked about something from Denmark, but Gten does not sound familiar. Or maybe I did cover it, but it was under a different title. Sometimes when I do videos on cryptids and I look up information for them, they'll show one cryptid or another name for the cryptid or another name for the cryptid. And when that happens, it's three different names, but it's the same monster, the same cryptid. So I'm wondering if that's the case here, and that's why I just can't recall it. But yeah, that looks like that's it. So 20 movies, everyone, associated with the world of cryptids. Have y'all seen all 20? Are y'all going to go see all 20 now? Let me know what you guys and gals think. There is one that I'm going to try to catch next time. Antlers. That one does sound interesting, especially the idea that it's taking hold of people, and maybe the people don't even realize it, that their friends are now the animal, like the actual Wendigo. That's the stuff that intrigues me. So, all right, everyone. Talk to y'all later. Take care. Bye.